Yo, people, I'm back. I keep disappearing, but I'm trying to be better. Happy New Year to all of you guys. Um, wish you the best. Hopefully this year's gonna be better than the last year, and hopefully you got goals to achieve this year. But I'm actually back in it. I thought I've come. I wanted to come back today before Brennan Johnson has moved to Crystal Palace because I want to share a few thoughts that might be, I don't know, different to a lot of other content creators. In fact, I have kind of like I'm like 50-50 in a weird little way. But Brennan Johnson, look, I think going to Crystal Palace will be a massive move for him. I think it's clear that Brennan Johnson's not in Frank's plans. He's not getting the game time, and when he does get the game time, you can clearly see the style doesn't suit Brennan Johnson, and yeah, it's a difficult watch when he comes on the pitch. So I think moving to Crystal Palace will be such a better move for him. Um, and this is the thing: if Glasner, and I think Glasner is a massive manager. If Glasner is staying at Crystal Palace, I think Brennan Johnson will be be scoring a lot of goals. I think he suits Crystal Palace to a cup of tea, and if Glasner stays, who knows? But it's a bit sad, because you know what? You would think we're not scoring a lot of goals, and Brennan Johnson, one thing that he can do is put the ball in the back of the net. Maybe his overall game is not there. He can't beat his man. He struggles to create chances. But one thing that Brennan Johnson's really good at is being there at the right moment and actually successfully scoring the goals. Because this Tottenham team is struggling. It's struggling. And if it's like 35 million, I think, look, it's a loss on what we actually bought him for. But I think 35 million to 40 million is probably a fair price. Even even I think like it's gonna help us in the long run, because if we're keeping Frank, I think we need to go with Frank's ideas. Now, let me just make it clear. I think Brennan Johnson would have been such a big asset, and I don't move from that point. I'm going to explain that in a second, but I just want to talk about Frank. Now, I think if you've watched me on other channels, you would have known this, and I've probably have abandoned my channel. This is where I'm going to update you. As most of the people I engage with, they know that I never wanted Frank in. I didn't think he would have been a great manager for us. I think he is a great man. He is, in terms of a good manager for a mid-table club, but I just didn't really want Frank at the time. I thought there was other better managers that could have done. In my fairness, I think with more experience as well that this team is lacking, I think there were better managers out there that we could have gone on. Now we've got Frank. I can't be like Frank out. It's impossible, because you have to give a manager time. And I'm actually giving him around a year to 2 years. In fact, I originally said 2 years, and I obviously, this is after realizing we sacked Ange. I was like, the next manager has to be given enough time, like our previous manager, because it would be unfair to sack someone before them 2 years. As you saw what Ange's template, he finished sixth, and then he won us Europa League and finished 17th, which on paper was a good and a bad season, right? So to sack someone before 2 years would be unfair on this manager, right? And I have to support him. So, in fairness, I am actually giving him a year to 2 years. But the reason why I'm saying a year, there's a reason, because around 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, as like I'm catching you guys up, there was a lot of rumors about who would next be appointed if Frank goes wrong, or we wasn't like, and the thing that I saw was Pochettino, and I actually believe Pochettino would be a great manager for Tottenham, because we know what we're getting from the product, and also I feel like his story is not finished. It's like, it's kind in a way, a lot of fans say it's not a fairy tale, but some fairy tales end up being one of them ones, you know. But back to what I was saying before I diverted. I think at the time we were saying his contract ends after the World Cup or something, and that's in a year's time from this point, or something along the lines. This is what I was reading, you know, and I think if the direction was to go to Pochettino, I don't see the reason of sacking Ange. We could have at least given him until that next season after winning the Europa League to appoint Pochettino. So for all the Pochettino transfers and, you know, like next manager theories, I believe we're not going down that route, because I think they are definitely trying to back Frank. So I think this Brennan Johnson move would be a good move, because if Brennan Johnson's not in Frank's plan, I don't see no reason of getting rid and improving. If we can improve and give Frank what he needs, because look, respectfully, we're putting blind faith on a manager to perform, you know, and we've kind of like dug ourselves in this hole by sacking a manager that, whether we didn't like that last season, had a winning formula, and I stand by that. A lot of people will disagree. I'm still on this stance of Frank needs to be backed, and Frank needs a bit more time. But it's a hard watch as a Tottenham fan, and that's it for us. But Happy New Year to all of you guys. Hope you guys are well, and let's hope this January window is a change. I I know it's a lot to ask for, but I hope we can bring in a few players, because now we definitely need a right winger and a left winger, because now we're leaving ourselves really short. We definitely still need to think about buying in a left-sided left back, because you see the issues between that. And I'm even still saying, and it might be a fairy tale. We might definitely not address this thing, but we definitely need to think about improving the goalkeeping area and the midfield. So there's a lot of work for Tottenham to do, in my opinion. And I'm saying goalkeeper because I generally believe we definitely need a better goalkeeper to progress. But if you disagree with me, in the comments, I'm going to try my best to upload more in 2026.